guys. Welcome to another edition of Herbalist Speaking. Just want to engage you for a little bit. Uh, Today's one of my work days, so I'm actually getting ready to go out and harvest herbs. So it's Sunday, the 4th of December 2022. And I'm excited because this is actually one of my favorite days because this is when I don't go to any clinic. I don't go to any, you know, I don't do any consultations. This is my day of spending time with herbs. And from last night, as I thought about going out, I thought I'd just do a quick, um, a quick video. I don't know who's on right now, but I'm gonna ask you just to share this link with somebody. I want to do a few things today. Um, because I'm getting ready to go out and harvest, I'm going to use the opportunity just to share with you some herbs. I haven't posted any of the Herbalist speaking videos in a while. I'm getting ready. I'm shooting season 5 now, and trust me, it's going to be exciting. It's going out. Hey, Leslie, how you doing? Always glad to have you. Share this, send it out to a few folks. I'm getting ready to harvest herbs, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to just use the opportunity to share some of the herbs that I have with me, here with you. And it got me thinking. It got me thinking as we're getting ready to launch this new course. It got me thinking as to, because one of my goals for doing this program is I believe that there are so many natural healers out there, so many persons who have the gift and the intent and the ability to just become natural healers. And some of those persons may have internal inhibitions. They may have misconceptions that are preventing them from exploring, advancing, and stepping out of the box into this new field. And I was thinking, what would be some of the biggest misconceptions that people would have as it relates to why they would not want to explore the innate gifting that they have to become a natural healer. And I'm going to share with you the two biggest ones that came to my mind. And I want you to go ahead and put it on the chat. What are the biggest, if you were to become a natural healer, what would be some of the biggest reservations that you have in not exploring that? I want to talk about that today before I share with you some plants and also another opportunity that I want to share with you. And it's amazing how persons will allow things to keep them back and things to keep them locked in. But I want to share with you from my perspective the two biggest misconceptions as to why a person would not want to explore becoming a natural healer. And then I'm going to share with you some of the herbs that I have here. Season 5, which is my next season of Herbalist Speaking. I'm actually, this is where I'm actually in the hills. I'm living here. And I want to share with you some projects, and I'm also going to be asking for your help and how you can do that and benefit in return. All right, so two of the biggest reasons why, two of the biggest misconceptions I believe that would prevent persons from wanting to become herbalists. One of them is that a lot of persons believe that in order to become a herbalist or a good herbalist, you need to know a lot of herbs. And that is simply just not so. It's good to know a lot of herbs, but it's not necessary for you to know a lot of herbs to become a herbalist or to become a good herbalist. Not having faith in healing with herbs. All right, that's a good one. That's a very good one, Leslie. I'm going to talk about that one too. If there's anybody else watching, any reason that you think a person would not want to explore, there's a natural innate desire that you have to become a natural healer, but you have reservations why you wouldn't want to do it. I'm going to talk about the two biggest reasons why I know so many persons don't want to do it. A lot of persons are daunted by the misconception, that they need to know a lot of herbs. And right now, where they're standing, where they're sitting, they don't know a lot of herbs. And that is just one of the biggest misconceptions out there. The reality is that you don't really need to know a lot of herbs. I've studied a lot of herbs. Every single day, I learn at least 2 new herbs. I learn about 14 herbs every week. 14 and 4, 28. And then I learn nearly 50 new herbs every month. So that's my personal journey because I enjoy what I do, and I believe in adding value to self. So every single day I learn 2 herbs, and at the end of the month, cumulatively, I learn 50 new herbs. So I'm always learning about new herbs, but that is not necessary for you to become a practicing herbalist or for you to become a good herbalist. Most of you would have known Dr. Sebi. Now, you will hear Dr. Sebi talking about herbs like kalawala. You'll hear him talking about herbs like contribo. You will hear him talking about herbs like he talks about a lot of herbs all the time. Here's the secret. I'm gonna share the secret with you. Even though Dr. Sebi may know a lot of herbs, and many herbalists may know a lot of herbs, you really work with a very limited range of herbs, anywhere from 20. Acquainted with herbs, and as you begin to work with herbs, you're going to develop an affinity and you're going to develop a relationship with herbs, and so you're going to be most comfortable with herbs. So you don't need to know a lot of herbs. What you need to know is you need to have a very good knowledge of the few herbs that you're working with. So if you're going to be working with 20 herbs, 30 herbs, or 50 herbs, then you have knowledge of those herbs. So what Dr. Sebi did is that from his vast interaction with herbs, these are the herbs that he has developed an affinity with. He has developed a relationship with them. And so these group of herbs, or these list of herbs, has become his personal, what we call herba medica. So even though I study so much herbs, and even though I know about so much herbs, my list of herbs that I work from 20 to about 50 herbs. These are the herbs that I spend time to learn, spend time to know, spend time to build a relationship with them. And so most of the remedies that I make, the raw material will come from the pool of these 20 to 30 herbs. Having an idea of the many herbs out there just gives you options, and it allows you to explore from time to time outside of that group that you're intimately knowing in working with. So one of the greatest misconceptions out there is that you need to know a lot of herbs to become a herbalist or to become a good herbalist. From the herbs that are around you. So in the first series that I did, my first series of herbs, herbalist speaking, I looked at herbs that grew in my backyard. And I also talked about herbs growing in your backyard. My goal was to identify the herbs in my backyard and to help persons to identify the herbs in their backyard. Because here's what happened. There are no Mona healers. And what happened is that, and I go back to Dr. Sebi, and I love him, and I love his wisdom, and I love the way that he has gone about doing what he has doing. However, there is a misconception and there is a flaw, not on his part, but because of the effectiveness of his work, it has led many to believe that in order to get healing, they have to work with the herbs within the range of Dr. Sebi's personal herba medica. I want you to understand there is no mono healers in nature. Follow me, please. There's no mono healer in nature. And so as you, Dr. Sebi's recommendation and Dr. Sebi's experience was based on his interaction, his personal affinity, his spiritual connection. Them that was based on inspiration. And so what we don't want to do is we don't want another person's inspiration and effectiveness to limit you from exploring your personal intuitive side, your personal, because you could be the doorway to the next wonder herb. There are many herbs out there, and so there are astringents, there are herbal tonics, there are infusions, there are many herbs out there with herbal properties that needs to be discovered or will be discovered. As a matter of fact, every single herbalist, their raw material always exists from a very limited range of herbs in comparison. So you don't need to know a lot of herbs in order to be a practicing herbalist or in order to become a good herbalist. And so what I recommend is that you start with the herb that is around you. One of the reasons why I'm doing this program, one of the reasons why I went out into herbalist speaking, is because when I did my training, I was in herbs that I had to import. And so I didn't believe that in helping the people in my geographical location, I had to depend on herbs that had to be imported. And this is for that reason why I'm adamant that the Caribbean needs its own structured form of natural medicine. Hence, I'm offering the program in Indigenous Caribbean medicine. We normally refer to the earth as Mother Earth because the earth displays a feminine energy. Feminine energy is one that nurtures and one that basically gives birth to, gives life to. So because of that, we refer to it in the feminine energy of Mother Earth. But what I want you to understand is, and we also use the term, we are sons of the soil, or daughters of the soil, implying that we are offspring of the country that we are. So that alone would allow us to understand that not only are we tied to the soil of our nativity, we are also tied to the herbs of our nativity. Not only are we the sons and the daughters, for example, of Jamaica, we are akin, we are of an affinity to the herbs of Jamaica. That is my belief. And so, because the sons of the soil will get sick, the Creator or the Most High had to make a way for them to get better. And so what he did was that he provided herbs from that soil that is beneficial to those persons. And so what am I saying? What I'm saying is that the relationship that we have with the herbs that we are from is unique to us as a people. That is the reason why we have to develop natural medicine. My goal is to see the Ministry of Health in Jamaica, and even in the Caribbean, for other Caribbean countries, is to see the Ministry of Health in Jamaica having a unit that is dedicated to natural medicine. What we do as a people and as a nation is that we develop the respect for something after it has been exported, valued, and then imported. You look at persons like, you look at the Jamaican language, Patois. Didn't have much value until it was exported, appreciated, then imported. We look at reggae music. Didn't have much value until it was exported, valued, and then imported. And that's the same thing with our herbs. Our value, and it will have no value until it is exported, valued, and then imported. And so what we need to do is you need to start from the herb that is around you, because the herb that is around you is indicative of the diseases that will affect the persons around you. All right? And so what I believe in is starting with the herbs that are around us. So I'm going to do a tour in a little while. I'm going to talk about the herbs. So when I started learning about Jamaican herbs, my goal was to start with the herbs that were around me. So think about it. You are the son of the soil. So I'm in Portland now. And what you will find as you begin to study herbs, you will find that the ranges and the frequency of a herb will occur in abundance in some areas and not occur in frequency and abundance in a particular area. So I'll give you an example. The herbs that deal with most respiratory problems, they occur more frequently and more abundantly in areas of high altitude. Why? Because people who live at high altitude, sorry about that, I'm using my phone, so that will happen from time to time. All right, sorry about that. Call was just of the bones and the muscular system. Will herbs that affect herbs the muscle or the skeleton system tend to grow in rocky areas. Why? Because that's where it is most needed. Persons who live in rocky regions like the cockpit countries of Jamaica, for example, have to travel on a terrain that puts more pressure on their musculoskeletal system. And so it means that most of the diseases that they will develop will affect their musculoskeletal system. So as a result, what the Most High has done is that he has provided in abundance and frequency those herbs. So what is that telling you? That's telling you that when you live somewhere, pay attention to any herb that grows more frequently and more abundantly in that area. That is what it is saying. Because most of the time, those are the diseases that will impact you in that area. And so, for example, if you find, and that's why one of the reasons why you will find that in Jamaica as a whole, we are a culture of people that are more attuned to natural medicine. But within Jamaica, there are subcultures of practicing natural medicine. So I'll give you an example. I'll talk about the Maroons, and I'll talk about the Maroon form of herbalism. When you study Maroon herbs and Maroon herbal practice, you will find that they tend to tune in more to herbs that are tonics, to herbs that appeal to the musculoskeletal system and the nervous system. Most of those herbs, so they'll do a lot of herbs that help with that are tonics that help with a stroke. They're very good in terms of using those herbs, in terms of herbs that are aphrodisiac, because most of the herbs that grow, that impact are vines. Most of the herbs that the Maroons will use are herbs, vines, barks, and roots. Because Maroons live in a terrain where it is rocky, hilly, and high altitude. So because of that, they have developed over the years an extensive knowledge of these herbs. And so in their practice, what you will find is that they're very good at knowing the herbs that are aphrodisiacs, herbs that are good for the nervous system, the musculoskeletal system, and to some extent, the digestive system. Not limiting them by any means, but I'm just saying if you take a very close look at their practice, those are the areas that they predominantly, their medicines predominantly cater for, because of where they live and their terrain. These are the herbs that grow in frequency, and these are the herbs that grow in abundance. And so because of that, I believe that the sons of the soil of Jamaica and the Caribbean who have migrated, their healing should come from the herbs that their cells have grown an affinity to. Because remember, our cells have intelligence. Our cells have immune intelligence. And so our cells will resonate to the frequency of the herbs that come from the land of our nativity. All right? And so you don't need to know a lot of herbs. So misconception number one, you don't need to know a lot of herbs to become a practicing herbalist or to become a good herbalist. What you need to know is, what you need to have is a very good knowledge of those herbs that you're going to work with. That's what you need. You need to know the contraindications of those herbs. You need to know the warnings of those herbs. You need to know as much as is possible about the scope of herbs that you're going to work with. That is what you need. That range may be 20. When I started out working with just uterine fibroids. My range of knowledge was 2 herbs: wild yam, red raspberry. Over the years, that range developed and evolved. So I worked a lot with women who had just uterine fibroids. And what did I do to change? I made a commitment to learn at least 2 new herbs every day for the rest of my life. That's my challenge to myself. So over the years, learning 50 herbs per month kind of gives you a better perspective, and it kind of gives you a wider view of the material to choose from. So one of the benefit that does is that if you can't find a particular herb, for example, I'm originally from Montego Bay, I'm now living in Portland. The herbs that grow in abundance and in frequency in Montego Bay are not the same as those in Portland, and it's not the same in St. Thomas. Now, there are herbs that can do the same thing, but I've had to make some adjustments. So when I lived in Montego Bay, the herbs that I use in abundance and in frequency, because guess what happened? Our creator, our Elohim, is an Elohim of abundance. And so he's not going to allow us to have an ailment and limit us to only one herb that can help you. No, there's a multiplicity of herbs that can help you. Right? So there are no mono healer. He believes in abundance. And so if it is that I was in Montego Bay and I decided to live in Montego Bay for the rest of my life, guess what? I would never have a problem with a shortage of raw material, because the material that I need grows in abundance. So pay attention to the herbs that grow in abundance and with the herbs that grow in frequency around you. So one of the biggest misconception number 1 is that in order to be a good herbalist, you must know a lot of herbs. Let's move on to misconception number 2, because today I want to walk with you and I want to share with you some herbs that I have in my surrounding. All right, so that's what I'm doing in the video. I'm getting ready to harvest herbs. I'm going to be making medicine. We normally harvest herbs from the new moon, so we're in between the new moon and the full moon. So this is my time of harvesting herbs above the ground. So I've got to do it, and there's a special time I'm going to do. So I'm going to be quick because I'm getting ready to harvest herbs to make medicine for my clinics. Misconception number 2, you have to be well educated. There are many persons who have a calling and a sense of innate desire to explore natural medicine, but they are restricting themselves because they're saying, I'm not as educated. In order to be a good herbalist or to be a practitioner, I need to be educated. No, you don't. In order to be a good herbalist, because natural medicine is a medicine of inspiration, not education. Yes, education is good. I'm not in any way undermining or belittling education, because what education does is that it adds values and it adds weight to the efficacy of what you're doing. It adds value and it has weight, but it is not necessary. In other words, you don't need to be well educated to use a herb properly. You can learn that through association and through practice. So natural medicine is not a medicine of education. It is a medicine of inspiration. One of the problems that the medical fraternity has with natural medicine is that when you are using allopathic medicine, when you are using drugs, because it is so powerful and because it is so toxic, they have to be very careful as it relates to dosage. But with natural medicine, it's not so. So natural medicine is not a very exact science. It's not a very exact practice. Yes, there are general guidelines, and yes, as it relates to certain medicine, certain herbs, you have to be careful. But natural medicine is not an exact science. So if you were supposed to use a handful of a particular herb and use one and a half handful, as long as it is natural herbs, for the most part, and there are exceptions, and there are exceptions, for the most part, it's not going to harm the person. All right, it's not going to harm the person. So you don't have to be well educated. However, education adds weight and it adds value. So I'm not undermining it. As much education that you can come to the game with, it can be good. It don't have to be good. It can be good. Why do I say it doesn't necessarily good? Because somebody hardest persons to teach and some of the hardest persons to train in natural medicines are those who come with a too scientific mindset that prevents or creates a block to their intuitive side. The students who are overly concerned with being too right and being too accurate are the hardest persons to train and teach. And so in my course, I'm not looking for well-educated persons. I'm looking for persons who are inspired. I'm looking for persons who are opened so that the Most High can flow through them and in them. Because natural medicine is a medicine more of inspiration. It is not a medicine of education. Another reason why it's a medicine of inspiration is because you have to allow yourself to connect intuitively and spiritually with the Most High and with the plant material or with the natural material or modality that you are using. So let us say you are not, use a lot of herbs. Let us say you are called to a modality of energy where your innate ability is to transfer, it is to manage, and it is to manipulate energy to the healing benefit of others. If you are going to be overly concerned with amount of energy and time and so on and so forth, it's going to create as a block. It's not going to be easy for you to flow. So you don't have to know a lot of herbs and you don't have to be well educated. If these were two of the biggest challenges in you exploring and advancing in becoming a natural healer, I want to throw these misconceptions out of the window. Now, I wanted Leslie shared, and I'm asking. I see 5 persons on the live, 7 persons on the live. I encourage you to share it. Leslie spoke about the fact that some persons have doubt. Some persons have doubt as to the effectiveness of herbs, and so they may have a challenge in wanting, especially if you're from a scientific background. And here's the case: I know persons who are trained medical practitioners. I met a doctor recently, young doctor in his 20s. He sees himself advancing in natural medicine, but guess what? His father is a professor. His father is a medical doctor, and so his father does not believe in natural medicine, doesn't believe in herbs. And so I could feel the resistance and the inhibitions and the reservation in allowing himself to advance in becoming a natural healer. And so never do that to yourself. I was saying to him, maybe the next breakthrough in a herb could come from you. Before there was Western medicine, the only medicine that was known, and that is still known, is natural medicine. The World Health Organization says that 70% of the world's population, 70% of the world's population still look to natural medicine as their main form of healthcare. Now, if that's 70% of the world, I'm telling you, 90% are somewhere in the upper high 80% of Jamaicans and people of Jamaican and Caribbean descent still look to natural medicine as their main form of healthcare. The problem is that they can't find persons who can effectively guide them in that area, because what we did was that when Western medicine came, we allowed most of the natural healers to die without documenting, without recording, without preserving the knowledge that they had. So hence, 50 years, 60 years later, we are in a rut where our healthcare system is overburdened with situations and cases that could be easily resolved. So I'm saying to the ministry, the Ministry of Health, and I'm saying to the Minister of Health, one of the ways that you are going to decrease the burden on our healthcare is by empowering persons to effectively, because what happens is that most people are already looking to natural medicine. Most persons, that's the only medicine they know, and that's the only medicine they trust. So it makes sense that the Ministry of Health has within its portfolio a natural medicine unit. That's what I'm advocating for. And I've seen the ministry heading in the right direction. I'm seeing the ministry advocating, what is it? They're calling it Jamaica Moves. Jamaica Moves is an initiative to approach disease from a lifestyle perspective. Now, what I'm saying is that that is a move in the right direction. Jamaica Moves has now taken on a wider view, Caribbean move. So not only Jamaica, but the Caribbean has decided to embark on initiative to approach disease from a lifestyle perspective, because they realize that over the last 50 years since the introduction of fast food, we have been overrun by lifestyle diseases. What I'm saying is that not only do we need to push the consciousness of changing our lifestyle, we need to also attune ourselves with herbs, an effective way of guiding our population. I know that this is not going to be good news for the pharmaceuticals, but guess what? This is what is good for the nation. So I believe that we need to head in that direction. And so I believe that we need more practicing herbalists. We need the Ministry of Health. A lot of persons who are resistant to pharmaceutical drug, why not create a unit to give them an option? Why not create a unit? Because there are many persons who are practicing natural medicine irresponsibly, and they're giving a bad name to those who are practicing it responsibly. There are a lot of persons who are practicing it ignorantly, that is giving a bad name to those who are approaching it methodically, responsively, and gaining good results. So why not empower the Ministry of Health to create a unit, and I make myself available. I'm saying this to, I don't know everything, but I'm saying to the Ministry of Health that myself, along with many other colleagues, would be more than happy to make ourselves available to the Ministry of Health to help craft and design a program that would be for the betterment of our people. All right, so that's it as it relates to the misconception. Now, I want, on a different note, I want to share with you some herbs, and I want to share with you a project that I'm working on, and how you can be a part of that project, and how you can benefit from that project. So, I'm going to show you some containers that I have. If you can see those containers, let me go for one of them. All right, so these are, when I drive around, I'm always collecting garbage. So these are some old washing machine tubs that I've collected. And the reason why I've collected them is because I want to use them in my greenhouse. I want to set up a greenhouse for indigenous alkaline vegetable. I'm very passionate about food preservation. And one of the things is that a lot of us know about domesticated vegetables, a lot of vegetables that is grown in the market and that can be eaten. Jamaica is at a crossroad, and the world is at a crossroad where we are experiencing food shortage. But the food shortage is not real, it's a myth. The food shortage is really a shortage of foods that we have domesticated. I want you to look around. Look around. I want you to look around at all of that green vegetation. Within that green vegetation lies a lot of wild, alkaline, edible vegetables. But you won't get them at the market because those weren't vegetables that were domesticated. And so as domesticated vegetables who are constantly being sprayed and fertilized and they are constantly being tested and they are constantly being, they work on them to create varieties of them. Part of the diseases that we have is because we've spent so much time creating hybrid vegetables that it's now affecting our cells. Our cells cannot resonate with the frequency of something that is unnatural. And so one of the things that I want to do is I want to put in a greenhouse to grow alkaline indigenous vegetables. So I want to share with persons a lot of plants that are edible. We don't have this food shortage that we're experiencing is actually artificial. How can we fight back? We can fight back by expanding the knowledge of our range of natural edible plants. So right now, I'm collecting these containers. So everywhere I drive and I see these wash tubs being thrown out, I collect them, and my intention is to create a greenhouse for indigenous alkaline vegetables. Alkaline vegetables like jokoto. Most persons know that jokoto is actually the same herb called pork root. Pork root is a very powerful herb that is used extensively. It has what is called proteolytic enzymic properties, which means it has the ability to dissolve flesh, to dissolve protein matter. Example, a tumor. So if you can get a jokoto, you can use it to dissolve a tumor. That is when it is mature. Most herbs that have powerful medicinal properties have powerful nutritional properties when they are young. Because a herb goes through different stages. It goes through a mature state in which most of the time when the herb is immature, when the herb is young, at that time the medicinal constituents are not that strong, are not that powerful. Because the plant is tender and young, it is edible. But as the plant becomes older, as the plant evolves and becomes more mature, there is a higher concentration of certain alkaloids, of certain chemicals that does not make it possible. Yeah, pork root. You can look it up, pork root. Yeah, pork root. And funny enough, pork root is the herb. The pork root are what we call jokoto. Pork root grows a fruit on it. And that, it's also called ink vine or ink plant. The ink from the berry of the pork root was what was used to write the Constitution of America. So the ink that was used to write the Constitution of America, it came from the pork root plant. Pork root grows in Jamaica. It usually grows up in areas that you burn. I'm having trouble understanding what you said with dissolved tumors. Okay, all right, I'll tell you. Okay, so now tumors are. A tumor is really like it's like a ball of meat. It's really flesh. Now, let me give you a simple one. Papaya stain. The stain from the papaya also has proteolytic enzymic function. Now, if you are cooking meat and the meat is tough, what papaya will do is that it will soften or tenderize the meat. It tenderizes the meat because of the enzyme in it that softens, yes, ink plant. It softens the meat and makes it tender. It breaks it down. It dissolves it. So if you have a tumor, there are herbs that you can put on the tumor. And there's a video that I put there. If you look at my channel, there's a video where I show you how I use a similar herb to dissolve a tumor. You don't have to use a knife to cut a tumor away. You can use herbs that when applied to it, it will dissolve it like when you put butter near the sun. It literally eats it up to the point where it dissolves. That is a proteolytic herb. So pork root in Jamaica, we call it jokoto. When it is young and tender, it is far more delicious than callaloo. So jokoto is a herb that I want to introduce to the Jamaican culinary experience. Jokoto. A lot of ancient persons would know that herb. Fat and barrow. Not a herb that can be used. Yeah, somebody said use. Kim said use. Yeah, so the reason why papaya leaf works like that is because it's stain in it. It contains papain. Papain is very good for. That's why when you have certain stomach problems, digestive problems, if you have high cholesterol, which is a buildup of plaque in the system, if you have fibroids, certain tumors benefit very well from proteolytic enzymes. All right. So where was I? So jokoto, fat and barrow, purslane. There are so many herbs that I've identified that we need to introduce. He did. Sorry to hear that. We need to introduce. We need to expand our variety of culinary herbs. One way we can fight food shortage is by expanding the knowledge base of what is edible. Not only expanding that, but we need to understand that we don't need to depend on foreign imports. A lot of these culinary herbs grow in Jamaica. They are grown here. So here's my project. My project is to put up a greenhouse using these tubs to grow and to introduce these herbs. My goal is to grow and to introduce these herbs to our people as options to what herbs and vegetables have been domesticated and made available in the market. And by extension, a lot of these domestic vegetables are acidic. They are not natural. They contribute to forming diseases. Acidic foods, acidic products help to form diseases by allowing our body to become overly acidic and overly stimulated. So this is a project. In a while, I'll walk with you and show you where I'm going to do that. So what I want is, I'm looking for, if you're watching this, if you're benefiting from this content, I want you to help me to get this project going. And in return, we're going to do this project together, and I'll share with you the herbs that we're adding, what are the nutritional benefits, and how they can help you. But in return, what I want to do is I want you to get something out of it. So here's what I want to do. Next week, Sunday, there's a link in the description of this video. There's a virtual herb walk. There's a virtual herb walk that I'm going to be having. It's going to be $20 US or $30 US. And I want you to sow, to invest. If you believe in what we are doing, I want you to invest in what we are doing. And in return, I want to invest in you. So next week, I'm going to do a virtual herb walk. Similar, I'm going to show you some of what that will look like. It's going to come with handouts. And my goal is to help you to identify the herbs that you have around you. I want you to become competent, in other words, so that when you get sick, you know where to go to get your remedy. Yeah, I'll be teaching that too. What are the acidic and non-acidic foods? We're talking about that, Kim. So I want to send this video out to as many persons as is possible. So in the link of this description, there's a form for you to fill out. All you have to do is to go there, and this is different from the class. We're still registering persons for our school come January. But if you don't want to go that deep, but you want to have a working knowledge of what is around you, it is your responsibility. The greatest weapon against sickness and disease is not medication, even if it is natural. The greatest weapon against sickness and disease is education. What's the sense of having the most powerful medicinal herbs around you if you don't know them? Doesn't make any sense. So what I want to do is I want to do a herb walk, and the herb walk is going to come with handouts and notes. We're going to have a few Zoom sessions, because what I want you to do, I want you to take pictures of the herbs that are around you. Remember, we talk about frequency, whichever herbs that are found around you in abundance and in frequency. You see them a lot and you see them often. Those herbs are intended to be a part of your herba medica. In other words, just in case you get sick, the Most High has placed those herbs around you to help you to get better. One of the ways we're going to help reduce the overburden of our healthcare system is by empowering persons to know the medicinal uses of herbs around them, so that they don't have to run to the hospital when they have a fever to take the space of somebody who needs attention for a broken arm or a broken leg. I don't know if you know this, but 70%, a study was done and it showed that 70% of the persons who crowd the emergencies didn't need to go to the emergency. 70% of the persons who crowd the emergency didn't need to go. So it creates a burden for those who need to be there. One of the ways that we're going to reduce that and eliminate that is by empowering persons, giving power back to the people so that they can know how to take advantage of the herbs and the medicines that have been placed around them. So I want you to partner with me come next week, Sunday, at 11 o'clock Jamaican time. I want you to go ahead, fill out the form. That $30, that $20 US or 3,000 Jamaican dollars that you give, I'm going to be using that to purchase the material that I need for our greenhouse. I'm going to say our, because this is going to be our project, right, guys? It's going to be our project. So I want you to work with me, and we're going to do this together. My goal is to create, and let me just show you. So I'm going to show you, there's somebody actually waiting on me to do some work in the yard. I asked him for about 30 minutes, and I'm now 40 minutes into this video. So I need to finish up this video quickly, but before I finish it, I want to show you some herbs. I want to share with you some of the herbs that I have here. We can talk about the benefit of those herbs. And I want you to, once you register for the program, I'm going to share with you, because it's not just going to be the herb walk. I'm going to be doing some Zoom sessions with you. I'm going to work with you, help you to identify the herbs and the potential medicinal uses of these herbs. All right, so I'm almost here. Let me just change the angle of the camera. All right, so this piece of ground. So first of all, if you look, you can see a walking trail. Now to the right of the walking trail is where I want to put all of this in greenhouse. So we'll finish here. Yeah. So I want to put all of this in greenhouse. So I'm gonna do different types of greenhouse. The first greenhouse that I want to do here is going to be greenhouse that focuses on teas. So this is my our tea greenhouse. When you look at the teas that are powerful we're in the winter now. We're going into the winter. And the fact that we're going into winter, we're going into the damp season. Once you go into the damp winter season, it creates the opportunity for molds and viruses. That's why it's called the flu season. So I want to be talking about herbs that will help you to successfully go through this season. And if you get sick, to recover quickly and possibly, preferably to protect you. All right, so that's going to be our tea. And then we're going to be doing, so tea is here. I don't know what's going to go here. 2 more is going to go here. But over where the yam is, so these yams that we have here. And some of you, I live in the hills. Our closest neighbor is about a mile away. So I live in the hill. And so these yams, we're going to move these yams. And this is where our vegetable greenhouse is going to be. All right. I live off-grid. A couple of us live off-grid. And I live in a tent, pretty much. And I'll talk about that sometime. My liberation, my freedom, my sense of, came the minute I came into the whole concept of living a more simple life. Trust me, guys. Some of you ain't even living. Trust me, you're not living. You're just existing. But I absolutely live in paradise. I live in so much greenery. There's a river right down the road that I can go and swim. So I'm here every Sunday learning. Every Sunday I harvest, and I wanted to show you this. Look at this. We're gonna cut it down now. So the silvery grass that you're looking at is called the common rush grass. Common rush grass, and very powerful medicine. But let me go back out and then finish up this video so that the workmen can get back to work, because the noise was bothering me. And I think we're gonna get some rain, so I need to do what I'm doing very quickly. All right, so let me show you about 2 herbs, because I've been on this thing long. And then next week, we're gonna be doing a lot more. So in the description of this video is a registration form to our virtual Herbwalk. And what you're gonna get in that, for that $30, I'm gonna be giving you sets of handouts that will allow you to identify herbs and the potential medicinal benefits of those herbs. And once I'm finished with you, I promise you, you're going to be learning how to identify way over 1,000 herbs. Way over 1,000 herbs, because of the way I teach herbs. I don't teach herbs by name. I teach herbs by family. Because once you understand the family that a herb come from, the healing properties are almost unique to those families. And I'll talk about, like, for example, the mint. The mints, we're going to be talking a lot about the mints, because the mints are, they are what we call, most mints have what we call volatile oils. And so because of that, they make up most of the decongestants that we have, most of the anti-catarrh herb, which is break up mucus. Most of those herbs are good for colds, flus, and fever. All right, so we're gonna look at them. But today I want to close off by looking at this herb that's growing on this tree. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, because in our Herbalist Speaking series, season 5 that's coming up, I'm gonna be doing a more in-depth video on it. But I wanted to show you this herb that grows on this tree. Some of you might know it. All right, it's called Heart's Tongue. Harts, Heart's Tongue. And it is a fern. And if you look under the underside, it propagates, or it grows from these spores. All right, and go ahead and taste it. Slightly bitterish. slightly staining. And no wonder, because it is used a lot as an astringent, and it's used internally for bleeding. So if you have any form of internal bleeding, then this is a herb that is good for that. It is also antiseptic, so it's also used to prevent infection and to clean wounds. So it's H-A-R-T, heart tongue. In Jamaica, we call it horse tongue. You know, in Jamaica, we tend to add more, to what we're doing. But this is a herb that is also good for infection, internal infection. It's one of the herbs. It grows a lot. It loves cool, high temperatures. It grows high in the mountain, and it's one of the herbs that the Maroons use a lot. It is used for also after childbirth to help with getting the placenta out. And it grows as an epiphyte on the tree, but it will grow. It likes cool, shaded areas, so it will also grow on the tree to create, a good ground covering. This is a very powerful herb. Let's look at another one. This is a herb that I basically just put in. It's called Glorosidia. It's known more so as fence-stake, and pretty much we just got these to use them as fence-stake. They use them as fence-stake. It is from the pea family. It is a pea, and it's used extensively on large lands where people grow cattle for a number of reasons. One, because it provides shade. Two, because it actually helps to provide support for the fencing, and it provides shade for the cattle. Three, because it's from the pea family, it adds nitrogen to the soil, and hence if you have a farming a pasture with grass, you're gonna need you're gonna need nitrogen to help the grass to grow. But as a medicine, it's very good for cold, very good cold medicine. Let me just show it. Very good for cold, and it's very good for high blood pressure. It's also called Never Dead, and for those who don't understand, never die, because let me show you something that I've thrown down. I paid somebody to harvest these for me, to use them as fencing. And even when you cut them and throw them down, so even though I haven't got a chance to plant them, which I really need to do, so here they are on the ground, and already you can see that they are growing. Rather than dying, they are growing. So the minute I plant them, then right away they ensure that I have a permanent fence line. All right, so many herbs that are here. Here's another one, King of the Forest, Cassia alata, also from the pea family. And this is a herb that is known to be, interesting, yeah, it's antibiotic, and antifungal, antiparasitic. This is actually one of the best herbs for skin condition. If you take the leaves and crush it, just crush it, juice it, and put it on almost any type of skin condition, yeah, like ringworm or fungus or anything like that. Almost anyone does. So this is an excellent herb to make soap or to make any type of skin condition. My time is up. I'm running out. I'm near that 1 hour mark. I don't want to go after. So guys, I'm looking to see as many of you as is possible register for our virtual herb walk next week, Sunday. All right. The proceeds from that, it's only $20 US or 3,000 Jamaican dollars. The proceeds from that is going to help us with our greenhouse project. Even if you can't come, I'm going to record it. So, please, I'd love to have you there. Once we do the herb walk, it's not just going to be the herb walk. After the herb walk, I'm going to do some Zoom call. The purpose of those Zoom call is to get you, because I want you. We're going to have some handouts. There are some activities that is on those handouts. The goal is to help you to identify the herbs in your area that are found in frequency, high frequency, and a higher amount. Is to help you to identify those herbs so that you can become familiar with what is around you. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share with me on this live. It was my absolute pleasure. I'm going to get ready now to go and harvest herbs so that we can have in our clinics this week. Until next time, this is Dr. Ben Israel saying, your health is your responsibility, and the greatest weapon against sickness and disease is education, not medication. Bye-bye.